What? Do you want me to let down? Hi, my name is Carter Walker. I love talking about movies, music, games, and comics. If you're interested in any of that, consider subscribing. Today I just wanted to do a quick little video coming from my parents' house, so not my usual setup, and there's cats everywhere. This is like my second take of this video because the first time the cat kept running around everywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. The cat wants to be in the video. And I wasn't recording, so that was pretty awesome. So that sucks. She's like right next to me. Also, I'm super allergic to cats. Not super allergic, slightly allergic to cats. So I might be sneezing and sniffling throughout the video. I apologize. Do my best to edit it out, but if any of it gets in, I'm very sorry. It's just the cats, man. So, what I wanted to do today was just a quick little top 10 list. My top 10 favorite movies from 2022. This year was an amazing year for movies. I really tried hard to branch out and go see movies that I wouldn't normally see. Especially since this year I'm like moved out on my own, you know, I'm working and everything, so I have the money to go kind of see whatever I want. You know, I live down in Cedar City. My fiance is up here, where my parents live, and so I wasn't quite able to kind of spend a lot of time with her. So I spent a lot of time at the movies with my roommates watching movies. And the cat might come down and visit. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. I got to branch out, check out a ton of movies that again normally I wouldn't see, and I was able to watch a good amount of movies. I think I watched somewhere between like 35, 40 movies that released this year. Really not that many, just the major ones, and I even missed a ton of them. I missed movies such as Babylon, The Fabelmans, just because they weren't showing in my area, and I just didn't have time to go see them. Sorry, I'm slouching a little bit just so I can get my full angle in the camera. I film on my phone, so I'm not really able to see what it looks like until after, so this sucks. Okay, so for 10th place, I am going to have to go with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Never would have thought this would be on my 10 favorite of the year, but here we are. Yes, I am 21 years old, and yes, I saw this with my entire family, my fiance. My fiance fell asleep during the movie. She thought it was boring. I absolutely loved it. I thought the animation was incredible. It was definitely inspired by Spider-Verse, which is always a good thing. The cat is on the television. Okay, the cat is down. The animation is definitely inspired by Spider-Verse, which is perfect. I love that movie. I think it's very gorgeous, and you can just tell that there was a lot of care put into this movie. I just think it was, you know, such a great movie to see. Very mature, but also very funny. I was surprised with how much I laughed, but also I was pretty touched by the message at the core of the film about overcoming fear and learning to, you know, live your life and focus on what's around you. Coming in at number 10, we have Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, directed by Rian Johnson. I thought this movie was just a ton of fun. I did a little short review for it, and I just thought it was way fun. I was super engrossed in the mystery. I think that it played out really well. I was very surprised throughout the runtime. Rian Johnson's script is really tight, except for maybe a little bit in the third act that doesn't quite pan out like how I think he wants it to or how it should. There's a few too many conveniences just in the third act and the last little bit that kind of lead you to one thing or another. And although it does have a very satisfying conclusion, I was hoping for a little bit more in the ending. But overall, I think it was a very wonderful movie, very funny. You know, the main characters do a great job. The cast is amazing. And it kept me surprised throughout, like every great whodunit should. And coming in at number 8, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I know a lot of people won't have this on their lists, but just hear me out. Directed by Sam Raimi, this movie was just a ton of fun. It wasn't quite everything that I was hoping for. I think as a fan, I needed to temper my expectations for cameos and crazy plot twists and 45 Doctor Strange variants like I was hoping for. But also at the same time, it didn't quite live up to the Multiverse of Madness name or premise. But, you know, under all that, I found a really fun movie that's definitely inspired by Raimi's earlier works, such as The Evil Dead, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And so I just had a ton of fun here watching Raimi just kind of go full like balls out to the wall. You can tell he's just having a great time here. He's just directing it with so much style and energy that it, you know, it comes off as corny sometimes, but it's just like how I would have loved it to be, just like the old Evil Dead movies. The writing isn't the best, the dialogue isn't the best, but I think overall at the core of the movie there's a very great message about Doctor Strange learning to let go and learning to work well with others. You know, there is some power scaling issues, just like any classic MCU Doctor Strange outing has. The villain in Wanda Maximoff is terrifying, and I think it pays off really well. The Illuminati is a ton of fun. Maybe could have used a bit more multiverse, could have been a bit longer, but overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I had a great time with it. Coming in at number 7 is The Menu. The Menu was so much fun for me to see. It was definitely a big surprise. I didn't hear anything about it until I watched Cody Leach and Sean Chandler's Fantastic Fest video about it, and I just heard that they loved it. Everyone at Fantastic Fest loved it, and so I was really excited to see this movie. I tried to stay away from the trailers. I knew it was like kind of like a thriller comedy, and I went in and just absolutely adored this movie. It was so much fun. It's just dripping with style, with like charisma. The cast plays so well together. The core of the movie is just like so darkly funny and satirical towards criticism of anything that it's just hard not to love it. Definitely something that I thought about a lot. I think Anya Taylor-Joy does a great job in her role, and Ralph Fiennes does incredible. He is so much fun as just someone who's lost their love for their job, lost their passion for like humanity. Great time at the movies. Please check this one out. It's going to be on HBO Max sometime this week or next week. If you haven't seen it already, please watch it. Coming in at number 6, we have Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. This movie was awesome. I have been looking forward to this movie for so long. I remember seeing trailers for it and hearing about it in like 2020 and just being like, anxiously awaiting, because I really enjoy Jordan Peele's filmography. Just like any sane person does. I think he has a great list of movies under his belt, and I think Get Out is just a great horror film. Us wasn't as great. I think it definitely fumbled the bag with the metaphors it was going for, and just kind of putting the metaphors before the story and everything else. I don't think it's as bad as people say, but I also don't think it's as great as people say. I think that he's always able to show off effects and provide something that's like deeply unsettling in his movies, which I found with Nope. Nope is probably one of my favorite horror films of the whole year. It's definitely in competition. It's definitely in the top 3 for me, at least. I know a lot of people weren't as over the moon about it as I was, but I think it was just a ton of fun. I was surprised at the angle they took with trying to get footage of the alien instead of like being hunted by it. My only complaint is honestly just on me. I was expecting something a lot more menacing, something a lot more grim, which eventually you do get when the flying saucer attacks the rodeo. That is probably one of the most unsettling scenes I've sat through in a theater all year, or the Gordy attack scenes. That whole chain of events in that second act where it starts with the monkey attack, ending with the blood raining on the house, is just absolutely unsettling. I was enthralled. Very well done, very well directed. It's beautiful, beautiful cinematography. The performances are great. And I enjoyed, looking up the movie after and kind of reading what everyone thought about it, reading everyone's interpretations about nature. And I thought it was a little bit easier to digest than Us. Maybe not as good as Get Out, but still definitely a great movie. Check it out if you haven't. It's streaming on Peacock. All right, before we head into the top 5, I'm just going to quickly rattle off a few honorable mentions. The first honorable mention that would definitely be on this list is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I saw this, opening night when it came out with a few friends. I'm not over the moon about it like everyone else is appearing to be. I don't think it's the best of the year. However, I definitely do think it deserves to be on this list. Just one thing kind of dragged it down for me. I think the humor was a little bit too quirky. A lot of the humor in this year's movies really didn't do it for me. Like Thor Love and Thunder's humor was just bashing you over the head with it. It wasn't really super funny. The humor and Everything Everywhere All at Once was just trying so hard to be different and quirky. With the hot dog fingers and the bagel thing, it just fell completely flat for me. The I Put Everything on a Bagel scene is just so downright cringeworthy. I could not stand it. That being said, literally everything else in this movie is wonderful. The effects, the action, the story, the emotion is amazing. I am waiting to watch this movie with my fiance. Hopefully when she gets feeling better, I can check it out, because I really did enjoy this movie. It's so well directed. It is so well written. Michelle Yeoh and Ki Hoi Kwan, I apologize if I butchered that name, give outstanding performances. 2 of my favorites in the year. I was just bawling in the theater when he does the scene where, in another life, I would have loved to do taxes with you. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't take you. I didn't expect this to have so much heart and just to be so much fun. Again, there's a few things in there that I just could not get on board with. I know, ironic coming from the MCU guy, but I just thought some things didn't really follow through as much as Daniels would have hoped. My second honorable mention is going to go to Scream 2022. I am a huge Scream fan. full disclosure, I think this film belongs on this list. It totally would. I just didn't get around to rewatching it. I honestly think it would probably beat out Puss in Boots. But since I have a little bit of recency bias for Puss in Boots, I wanted to shout it out. But Scream was a great horror flick, a great thriller slasher. You know, it's not exactly scary anymore, but I still love the meta commentary. I still love the direction they took with it. I absolutely love Jack Quaid and everything he does. So it was so fun to see him and see his turn in this movie. It was so awesome. Dewey does a great job. Gale and Sydney are a little underused, but I can see why. They're trying to bring in the new cast and introduce them. I think that there's a few characters that are underused, that not as, utilized as they could be. It's not as funny or as scary as it could have been, but I definitely appreciate the emphasis on toxic fandom. I thought that was hilarious, especially just being in high school when the Star Wars sequels came out. Everyone was losing their minds. It was so much fun to see. I can't wait for Scream 6, honestly. It's definitely in my 10 anticipated for this year. Heading into the top 5 is Barbarian, directed by Zach Kreger. Barbarian was the biggest surprise of the year for me. You're going to see it on most people's list just because of the completely WTF turn it takes in the movie. You think you know where it's going and it changes completely 2 more times. It just does such a great job of keeping you on your toes. You have no idea what's going to happen, and it is just a ton of fun to see. Pretty unsettling as well. Not the scariest movie I've ever seen, but it definitely did a great job of unnerving me and making me creeped out. If you haven't seen anything about this movie, continue not to. It's on HBO Max right now. Go check it out after this. Don't see any trailers, don't see any stills, don't read anything else. Don't even finish this review. Come back and finish it and wait, because it is just that good. It was so much fun to watch in the theater. I was like, what the heck is happening? All my roommates were like, dude, what is this? What did you drag us to? But it's just really enjoyable. It's a ton of fun. Justin Long just gives an incredible performance in it. He is so much fun. There's a few things in this movie that didn't quite work out. I think it could have been a little bit scarier with the creature design and toning down some of the campiness, but that is why I love it, so you can't win them all. Number 4 on this list is Wakanda Forever, the new Black Panther movie. I was really nervous for this movie going into it. I could not believe that they were just going ahead, full steam ahead without Chadwick Boseman, didn't recast and nothing. And I was super nervous, and then the first trailer released, and I was completely won over. One of the best trailers I've ever seen. It was super heartfelt, very emotional, and I just absolutely adored it. And as the movie came out and I went and saw it, again, I just loved it. I thought Namor was amazing in this movie. He does such a great job of being menacing, yet kind of empathetic. You can understand where he's coming from. The emotion in this movie is top-notch. Angela Bassett gives a great performance. I actually saw it today with my dad again, and I still get the chills almost every time she's on screen. And then Namor just, again, absolutely kills it in the role. I cannot wait to see more of him if we ever do see more of him. I think Shuri gets a great turn in the movie, a great arc, and it's a good send-off to Chadwick Boseman. He will be missed. I am definitely, will forever kind of wonder what the Black Panther movies would have looked like with him and what the MCU would have been with him. But I think this is the best case scenario. So, yeah. Number 3, heading into the top 3, is Jackass Forever. This movie, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. One of my favorite theater experiences. I went opening night with some friends of mine, and we were 20 years old. Everyone else in the theater was pushing 35. We were the youngest guys in the theater by far. Everyone else was 35 plus to 50 or 60. It was hilarious, and I don't think I've ever laughed harder in a theater than this entire movie. Just had me in stitches. Everyone was losing their minds just because of how outrageous it was. It was my first Jackass film. Not my first introduction to Jackass. I've seen YouTube compilations. I've seen some movies with Johnny Knoxville in them, or some shorts with Steve-O. But for the most part, it was my introduction to Jackass. And from that very first scene with the Pontiusaurus, it was over, man. It was so funny. It's highly irreverent, very inappropriate. But overall, I cannot recommend this movie enough, especially with a group of your friends. You'll just be laughing the whole time. There's abundant male nudity in here and just stuff that will gross you out, but it is hilarious. And I have rewatched it maybe 3 or 4 times, and I still just die every single time. The part where Johnny Knoxville locks them all in the room and chases them with the cow prod in the dark, and they think it's the rattlesnake. I crack up every time. I sound like the oldest white dude talking about this movie. I just don't know what else to say. I think it is honestly hilarious. I cannot recommend it enough if you haven't seen it. Check it out. Just a heads up, there's a lot of weird stuff in this movie, so yeah. Be warned. I kind of debated a little bit, looking at number 1 and 2, but really there could only be one spot for number 1, and it was sealed in stone the day it came out. So number 2 is going to be Gun Maverick. This movie was incredible. I, in all honesty, was not really looking forward to it. I hadn't seen the original Top Gun. I wasn't really a fan of it. From like what I had seen, seen a little bit on TV here and there with my dad. I was like, oh, this looks so dumb. And then, from 2019 on, you saw a trailer for Top Gun Maverick every time you went to the theater. And it just seemed like there was more trailers and more trailers. And I got worried that, okay, well, it's going to be another Amazing Spider-Man 2 situation where the whole movie is released before you're even sit your butt down in the theater chair. But I was so wrong. This movie is incredible. It is top-notch action film, top-notch emotion and style, directed by Joseph Kosinski, I believe is his name. Tom Cruise knocks it out of the park. I have no idea what they give Tom Cruise every morning when he wakes up, but I want some of it. I need some of it. He can just do whatever he wants, and he cannot die. Tom Cruise, flying his jet around, doing whatever. I can't believe everything I hear about this movie just seems fake. Just, oh yeah, the actors would go up for 20 minutes a day, and the sun was their only source of light, and Tom Cruise just flying his jet around because he knows what he's doing. He knows how to fly a jet. What, dude? What the? Is there anything Tom Cruise can't do? I'm like flabbergasted. I know it seems like I'm faking this a bit, but I'm genuinely like, I don't know how he does it. It's incredible to me how he pulled this off, how the crew pulled this off. The praise it got, the money it made is so well deserved. I think it's the best blockbuster of the year, beating out Avatar: Way of Water by far. The emotion, the spectacle, the effects, the story lap Avatar completely. Top Gun Maverick is the best blockbuster of the year, behind number one. And I think it is just an absolutely amazing movie, just like everyone else. We needed something to save the cinemas, and we got it, and it was Top Gun Maverick, and I loved it. But coming in at number one is The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves and starring Robert Pattinson. Full disclosure, I am a big Batman fan. Not as big as my buddy Gage, but I love Batman. I think Batman is an incredible superhero. Praise the Lord. Matt Reeves knows exactly what he is talking about. I remember watching DC Fandom back in 2019, or 2020, I think it might have been, and just hearing Matt Reeves talk about Batman, hearing him talk about Gotham, you instantly could tell he's just someone that reads the comic books. No disrespect to any director beforehand, but they read The Dark Knight Returns, they read Batman Year One, they read Long Halloween, and they're good. They don't read anything else. They don't pick up Noel, they don't pick up Venom, they don't pick up Dark Victory, anything like that. They don't read any runs like freaking New 52. They don't read nothing. And so you can kind of tell that Matt Reeves poured his heart and soul into this movie. It is just chock full of Batman Easter eggs. It is Batman to a T. Robert Pattinson gives his all here. He does an incredible performance. Every time I watch it, I am just like in awe of how they completely nailed the detective side of Batman. It is an incredible film noir movie. It is a little bit slower paced, but I am so happy to spend all that time in Gotham, seeing Robert Pattinson's Batman starting out, facing his first real supervillain, and I cannot wait to see what Matt Reeves brings us next in this universe. It is incredible. The Batman is my favorite movie of 2022, and in my top 3 favorite movies of all time. I will be watching this until the day I die, and I will be singing its praises until the day I die. Thank you, Matt Reeves. Thank you, WB, for not sticking your fingers where they shouldn't be. Finally, we got the perfect Batman movie apart from The Dark Knight. We finally got comic accurate Batman, and I could not be happier, and Gage Henderson cannot be happier, so I can't complain. But yeah, it's been fun. I love talking about movies. I'm gonna put out a worst of the year list, probably not 10, probably just 5, just because if I put out 10, I'll be getting into like 2.5-star movies that I don't think were bad. I do think my bottom 5 are not that great of movies. I have some controversial picks, as always, and so that should be fun. I'm sorry, A24, you're not for me. I'll be putting out also a top 10 most anticipated movies of 2023 list. Follow an Instagram page I started with my friends Jerry and Wyatt. It's that'sabingo_movies on Instagram. We put out movie content every day. I do what I can. I'm kind of lazy with that. I am so sorry, Jerry and Wyatt, if you are still watching. Anyways, it's so much fun to talk movies with you guys. If you guys have any movies that you disagree with or you agree with on this list, tell me down below. What were your favorite movies of 2022? What are you looking forward to in 2023? Was there something I missed? I look forward to continuing the conversation down in the comments below, and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.